If you have a comment, question, or concern you want us to discuss on the show, leave a voice message on the Urban Tools for Change hotline.
I have some amazing news for
The
you.
number is 973-264-3663.
Yeah, this is me.
That's 973-262-4363. Call us anytime, day or night.
It's worth looking into, isn't it?
We want to hear from you.
People had dogs. They had big dogs. As sure as I'm looking at what I see right now, so I'm walking. I'm like, oh my gosh. I kid you not, you guys. Thank God I had my grandfather's umbrella. And with that long black umbrella, I had to poke, and it was either eaten or beaten. I was not going to be a dog's alpo that day. So I had to fight. I just had my umbrella just sticking, and because the dog was like, arr, 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 arr. And then the owner finally came out the house. I don't know where the owner was. Obviously, he didn't have his door locked.
You're an awesome person. I'm sitting here taking notes.
I feel like you're awesome, and I just love your style.
Your bear principle hits it right on the nail. That bear effect is there.
For sure.
That's also the bear effect.
Wow, nice. I gotta ring a bell for you. Yes.
Your bear factor is that too. I would like to have a house, a car, a family, a dog. The bear, yep, the bear comes out.
The bear literally.
Put that right next to bear. Put that right next to bear. And by the way, that was a crazy scene from that movie. That bear scene. Woo.
Без резких движений. Вот так, все. Есть. Нормально, все в порядке. Мы хорошо. Ебать.
Because guess what? Your thoughts could be faulty. Your mind could be playing tricks on you. Oh my goodness. I'm still looking at that man and how he did that. Welcome to Urban Tools for Change. Oh my goodness. You have entered the Urban Suite with Dr. Lisa Lacan. Welcome. Listen, tonight we have a fantastic, wonderful, special guest, but I'm not going to give up too much. I'll be right back. So stay with us. Bye. See ya. You are entering the Urban Suite with Dr. Lisa Lacan. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community with Dr. Lisa Lacan. Welcome back. Listen, you have entered the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa Lacan, and we have a wonderful topic of discussion tonight. We're talking about striking business gold or mold. Now, think about mold and then think about gold. What are the ingredients of mold versus the ingredients of gold? We're going to be talking about that tonight in the Urban Suite with a wonderful special guest. I can't wait until you meet her, but we will be right back because right now we have our missing person segment coming up right now. So stay with us And please, 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 please stay with us. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Missing person. All right, so listen, this is our missing person segment. For those who are new to this platform, new to this page, new to this channel, each week I highlight a missing person. I don't care if they're 12 years old, 70, or whatever. The missing person this week is Bobby E. Williams. Now I want you all to listen to this, okay? Mr. Williams, he's been missing since February the 21st, 2022. Since February the 21st of this year, he's 70 years old, you guys. 70 years old. He's missing from my hometown of Washington, D.C. So you know, listen, my urbanites. You got to like, share this. He's 70 years old. Male. He's black, medium complexion, 5'9", 190 pounds. He's bald. His hair length is shaved. His eye color is brown. He was missing, let's see, last seen on the 1300 block of K Street in Southeast DC, 7:15 in the morning. Circumstances of his disappearance, they are unknown. He may be in need of medical attention and he may go by the name of Earl. So listen, if you have seen Bobby E. Williams in Washington, D.C. or in the DMV area, that's what we call District, Maryland, Virginia, in the DMV area, please call the Metropolitan Police Department at area code 202-576-6768. That is 202-576-6768. Or you can notify BAMFI, that's Black and Missing Foundation Incorporated, at 877-97-BAMFI. Again, that is 877-97-BAMFI. Listen, you guys, let's bring Bobby home. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Lisa Lacan. Guess what, you guys? I have some very exciting news.
Folks, great news.
I am moving my time to 7 p.m. Tuesdays. Listen.
I think I'm getting excited.
Are you getting excited?
I heard from you guys, and I called a family meeting. I said, Miles,
Plaguing our community.
Whiskers, that's my cat and dog. I am moving from 10 to 7 p.m.
Good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yo, that's big.
I can't wait to see you Tuesday. New time, 7 p.m. Yay! All right, see you guys. Bye.
Let me see you do that. Yeah, you're getting excited.
Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community with Dr. Lisa Lacan.
Listen, you guys, I have a recap. I have something I need to share with you. I don't know if you saw my podcast back in December I did of Jussie Smollett. I'm going to show you something because new revelations have occurred within the last couple of days. He was found guilty back in December and his sentencing took place recently. So I'm going to highlight a couple of things that I think you need to be aware of, and it's going to tie in with what I talked about last week with the bear effect. Now, you all remember the bear effect, BEAR, your beliefs expected as reality. So take a look at this. I'm going to pause it, continue it, things of that nature. All right. So let's go with this. Now, remember, I said this back in December. I could not contain myself with this Jussie, not Jesse, Jussie. It's Jussie Smollett. I could not contain myself because he has been found guilty. Oh, I knew it. Let me tell you, when I first caught wind of that story, that he was pretending to whatever, I said to my husband, I said, this sounds and smells very fishy. It really does. And let me tell you, the fruition, the manifestation of the fishiness came to pass yesterday when he was convicted, guilty on 5 counts out of 6. So Jussie Smollett, guilty of false reports to police about his racial attack. Former Empire actor Jussie Smollett was convicted Thursday on an array of charges connected to a 2019 incident in which he staged an anti-gay racist attack on himself and then lied to Chicago police. He did it against himself. So he orchestrated this whole thing where he didn't buy the noose, but he sent 2 guys to the store that bought the rope and everything. Like, you see it on camera. You see them at the counter buying all of the supplies to fulfill his mission. All right, let's continue about it. So he's convicted on 5 counts. All disorderly conduct. Count number 1, telling Chicago police officer Muhammad Baig he was the victim of a hate crime. Guilty. Telling Baig he was the victim of a battery. Guilty. Telling police detective Kimberly Murray he was the victim of a hate crime. Guilty. Telling Murray he was the victim of a battery. Guilty. Oh, that's a little ring. Let me put that. Telling again Murray he was the victim of a battery. Guilty. And then telling Detective Robert Graves that he was the victim of an aggravated battery. Not guilty. This is interesting because Jussie Smollett in 2007, according to the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office, Smollett pleaded no contest to providing false information to law enforcement in a 2007 misdemeanor case resulting from a DUI, drinking under the influence, stop, in which Smollett gave police a false name. Okay, he gave police a false name back then, driving under the influence. And I believe the false name he gave the police was his brother's name. So anyway, let's go. And signed his brother's name on the summons promising to appear in court. Smollett also pleaded no contest to driving with a blood alcohol level over the legal limit and driving without a valid driver's license, and was sentenced to a fine and 2 years of probation. This was Jussie Smollett back in 2007. Okay, fast forward to 2019. Here he goes with this hate crime hoax. So he now faces up to 3 years in prison, but he could be sentenced to probation and community service. So I don't know what the sentencing will bring.
I am innocent I'm sentencing you to 30 months felony probation, and the probation is going to be to this court. You're going to be allowed to travel wherever you want. You do not have to live in the state of Illinois. You can report by phone. I know that if you're going to try to make a living and do some of the things you do, you may have to go to other places, New York and Los Angeles. You can do those things. You will pay restitution to the city of Chicago in the amount of $120,106. You are.
What did he say? What did he say? What? Wait a minute. He said $120,000. Did he has to pay $120,000 to the city of Chicago? Okay. I'm like, I feel for the brother, right? I'm like, okay. All right, let's continue.
Are fined $25,000, which is the maximum fine. And you will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail.
And 150 days in the Cook County Jail. Listen. It gets even worse. You gotta stay with me right there, right now. You gotta stay. I don't understand. I understand, but I don't understand. You'll understand when you see this.
And that will start today, right here, right now. Mr. Smollett, though the jury found you guilty and I've sentenced you as I have, you have the right to appeal the findings and rulings of the court or ask your sentence to be modified. To do those things, you need to file a notice of appeal in writing within 30 days.
All right, listen, I have a question. The brother man lawyer sitting next to him, what the heck is he doing? Like, is he shopping on Amazon? Like, what? He just seems so unbothered. Like, he's just what is he typing? I don't know. So we're going to get into the body language soon. He just seems so unbothered. I think he's shopping on Amazon. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But listen, you be the judge. Look at him. Watch him.
Days. You may also file a motion to modify your sentence, which would have to be filed in writing within 30 days. Anything not stated in those filings are waived for purposes of appeal. You cannot afford lawyers or transcripts. They would be provided free of charge. Do you have any questions?
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say.
Okay, if you didn't hear that, he said, Your Honor, I am not suicidal. Okay, so here it's starting to ramp up. Stay with me now. Stay with me. Hold on. Here it comes.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not.
Uh-oh. Did you see the attorney? I believe that's his attorney, the female attorney. He actually kind of scared her because she kind of moved away. He had a lot of bass in his voice, and he's saying that he's not suicidal. All right, let's continue.
I am innocent, and I am not suicidal.
And he clearly states that he is innocent and he is not suicidal. Clearly states he's innocent. He was found guilty. There's video of people purchasing the tools for the hoax, but he is not guilty. He's stating that he's innocent. And this goes back to, again, just like with Tasha K, I call it the Shaggy syndrome. It wasn't me. This is the Shaggy syndrome to the degree. It wasn't me, but you were caught. All right, so let's go.
If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay.
Listen, that goes with the bear effect, him talking about him not being suicidal. And the reason why I say that, Curtis, if you can put the bear up with the historical data, witness data, and the hear saw data, what I discussed last week about how we can bring on anxiety. because your bear is your beliefs expected as reality, your BEAR. And there are 3 data points that we tap into sometimes to trigger anxiety, whether that's historical data, whether that's witness data, or hearsay data. And I specifically talked about those 3 data points last week, where I said historical data is basically when it happens to you, the trauma happens to you firsthand, and then later on in life, you go back to that point. You go back to that point where that trauma happened, and it stems fear, anxiety in your life. And oftentimes it's faulty thinking. So for me, when I was younger, I talked about being attacked by 2 dogs at the same time. And for years, I grew up having a fear of dogs. I had a fear of dogs because I always retreated back to the historical data, whereas my adult way of thinking about it was very faulty, very faulty. And then the witness data I explained is you were personally there and you saw the traumatic event. However, you were not the target, but you saw it. So you may have a fear of dogs based on what you personally saw going through life, like, And then the hearsay data, and this is what I want to talk about with Jussie Smollett. The hearsay data is he has a belief that perhaps if he is incarcerated, he may be found, I don't want to say, but not living. So he's expressing his anxiety, saying, if something happens to me, I'm not suicidal, because we have had reports of people in the news being incarcerated, and then all of a sudden they came in healthy and then they ended up deceased. So that's the bear effect with him. Now, Curtis, you had a very good and valid question. You said, do you think he's pretending, or is it really authentic? I have no idea. I don't know. It could be a little bit of both. I have no idea. But that is the bear effect right before your eyes, that he's saying that he's not suicidal. And then also, he's deflecting. He is deflecting and putting the blame on someone else. Now, I don't know who he's putting the blame on, but he is not taking ownership of his wrong. Now, some people say that that's very narcissistic, possibly. The one problem that I also have with this is he brought his 92-year-old grandmother. She was on the stand. His grandmother is 92 years old. And I know a grandmother's love, my God. But, in the eyes of a grandmother, we can't do any wrong as grandchildren. We just can't. We can have a match in our hand and getting ready to throw it to burn a house down. And the grandmother would be like, isn't that child so sweet? Isn't that baby so sweet? That's a grandmother's love. But 92. So I don't know if he's going to appeal or not. I would love to have the Judge Sekou, back in the Urban Suite so we can really talk about this. But also we have another big case coming up March the 30th. And that is Nicki Minaj's husband. He's going to be sentenced. I have no idea what that is, but we should find out very soon in the Urban Suite. And if you have been following me for a long time, you know that basically he has been charged with failure to register as a sex offender because he is a registered sex offender. Again, I don't care about that. My issue with him is he did not register and he pled guilty for not registering when he relocated from New York to California. And then I think he went to different countries as well. So anyway, listen, what's coming up next, Curtis? We have, the BMI spot, and then we'll be right back. So stay with us. So listen, we are sponsored by Blessed Ministries Incorporated. The Urban Suite is sponsored by Blessed Ministries Incorporated. We are the premier workforce development agency in the state of New Jersey. And we work with various populations to get them employed, you guys. We work with those under the supervision of parole. We work with adults with disabilities. We work with youth with disabilities, like teens with disabilities. We work with those impacted by opioids in the state of New Jersey, as well as those that are receiving like food stamps and things of that nature. We do put people to work.
Sasha is an entrepreneur, strategic innovator, visionary, and positive change agent. She's a co-author of Striking Business Gold. With over 20 years of experience, she helps businesses during times of change, growth, and transition.
So one of the misconceptions is that business is all about the front end of the business, marketing and sales, but you have to be focused on the back end of the business. Tip number 2, you want to build a strong infrastructure. So you actually want to have a good foundation when you're building your business. Tip number 3, you want to implement operational and organizational systems. And there's a way to make process work for you. And the 4th tip is you want to build useful networks and partnerships. So one thing we did learn in the pandemic is that business is more relational than transactional. People are buying from you. I hope this has been helpful to you.
All right, my urban knights, listen. I need you guys to welcome this fierce sister, Miss Sasha Lalite, to the Urban Suite.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
It's to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad you are here. Listen,
I know.
your name rhymes. Sasha Lalite in the Urban Suite. I love it. Yes. Gotta get a ring. You gotta get a ring. Yes. Oh my goodness. Listen, Urbanites, you are in the midst of greatness. This young lady has more than 20 years experience of doing what she does, and she's going to talk about it right now. So, Miss Sasha, she's the author and she's the co-author of Striking Business Gold. You see this book? Yes. Oh my goodness. So listen, Miss Sasha, I need you to tell my urbanites briefly about yourself, about your background.
Sure. First, I want to thank you for having me on your show. I know we've been trying to get together for a while now, so I'm glad that that's happened.
Yeah.
So I have about 20 years experience in mostly healthcare, but I started off really with a passion for helping people, which has been consistent throughout my entire life, and really helping people to do better. I think when you know better, you do better. And I have helped businesses with their strategy, operations, and cultural improvements. And about 4 years ago, I started my company, MetaViable Solutions, so that I could help businesses from the outside in and helping them during times of change, growth, and transition. And recently we published our new book. I co-authored it with Melanie Cunningham, who is an attorney, who also transitioned from the corporate world around the same time as me. And we decided to combine our experiences together to really help entrepreneurs that were in transition or aspiring entrepreneurs. And we are two Black women. We wanted to also provide opportunity and really the bricks for you to build the right way for your business.
All right. Awesome. Now, how has your background prepared you to complete this book?
Well, I think it requires discipline. And very much you have to have strategy, you have to have a plan. And that is one of the things that we speak about in her book, so that you can execute the right way. So, and you have to collaborate, right? So I actually have a co-author on the book. And what happened is that during the pandemic, we did have to pivot both of our businesses where we couldn't be on site servicing clients. So this was kind of a way for us to be creative and create pretty much a lifetime resource for entrepreneurs and business owners to go to whenever they needed to. So we were really focused on being disciplined at the time, and we really birthed this out of the pandemic.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what was the most challenging part of writing this book?
I think the hardest part was really making it more digestible for readers, because we have all this knowledge, and it's really about how do you break it down for the audience, that might not have some of the expertise that you have studied, right, and really applied throughout your life. So she brings the legal aspects, and I bring more of the strategic operations. And within the book, we have a lot of visuals. We broke things down into worksheets. And the good thing is we're getting feedback from people that don't even really like to read, saying, oh my gosh, this is so digestible and so simple, and it's actually fun to read. We have examples and stories within there too, so that you understand how we're applying certain concepts.
Yes, because I actually picked it up and I started to read it, and it's very practical.
Yeah.
And I love how you initially started the book out with scripture. I think for me, that's very important, because for me in my life, I need that as the foundation. And talking about foundation, we're going to get into it just a little bit later. Some things that we all need as small business owners. And one of the things is a rock solid foundation, because if your foundation is built on sand, it's just not going to last. It's not going to last. And I'm sure you've seen some sandy foundations. And the reason why I said gold versus mold, because when you think about mold is very toxic. And if you have a toxic mentality, you cannot be a successful business owner. And what mold does is it grows in the dark. And I look at that dark as ignorance. And I think your book is a tool to bring light and to shed light so that darkness cannot remain with folks, so that they will no longer become or stay in their ignorance. And we're going to go into it a little deeper also. But another thing about mold, when you are in the environment of mold for too long, it can disrupt your respiratory system. It can compromise your respiratory system, as well as your mental faculties. So if you have a moldy mindset, it's toxic, you're operating in ignorance, and you're not able to grow effectively as you should. And at the end of the day, because it's a business, it's going to affect your revenue. And you can remain in poverty in a sense. And I don't mean poor, but it'll be a failure to launch and to grow. And your book, you talk about so many things in your book that I really love. One of the things that you talked about in your book is, sustainability. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about sustainability. And then we're going to get into the 6 things that your book highlights why business owners fail. So how is sustainability? How do we know, is it 3 years, 5 years in business, 10 years? Like, what does that actually look like? Sustainability.
So sustainability is really about coming from the mindset of thriving, right? Not just surviving and just making it, and actually having that strong foundation. And I don't put so much of a time frame on that, but what Melanie and I really focus on in the book is having that strong foundation. So I love the concept of the molds and being toxic, but you really have to come from that abundance mindset, and how do you build the right way? And we talk about foundational elements within there. And I often I talk about this concept of the house of cards when I'm doing presentations, and it gives the illusion that you have a strong infrastructure within your business. So when we talk about sustainability, we're also talking about infrastructure. And I kind of have a formula that I use for sustainability within my company. And it's strategy, structure, systems, and empowerment. And that's what equals sustainability, because you need the people, which is part of the infrastructure. You need the strategy. You also need process and systems. I'm a process expert. I have certifications in that. So how do you get your people and your processes working for you? And how do you empower people? It's not just about giving them tools, right? But are you actually training them and empowering them so that they're also confident in themselves to now apply those skills, right? To be even more fruitful, right? Because when your people are doing well on an individual level, on a behavioral level, you're going to see your whole organizational system change. And that's really how I bring about change in transition when I'm working with companies, right? And even when you spoke about the scriptures at the beginning of the book, that's part of also, like, that's Melanie and my foundation. We pray on everything. We refer to things like that because we wanted to give that inspiration. It wasn't more really spiritual, religious. It was spiritual. No matter what religion people may be, they've actually been relating to it in the book. But it's also, how do we treat one another? How do we love one another? How do you create a culture also within your business, whether you're a one-person business or 250 plus employees? How do you cultivate an environment that's sustainable, right? So you have certain components, but also the cultural components to grow. So within the book, as you saw, we talk about the more tactical ways, which I know you will get into.
Right. Now you also talk about this, like the infrastructure. This is just not brick and mortar. This can be like for e-commerce business and things of that nature, correct?
Yes. So when I'm talking about infrastructure and actual foundational elements, we're speaking about actually having, for instance, a business plan. It doesn't have to be pages and pages long, but what's actually your plan? And we talk about, we have worksheets in there, but what is your unique selling proposition? What is your mission? What are the values you're trying to build on? And this is not a static document. This is a dynamic, reference and roadmap for you to go back to as you're progressing in your business. Because as you see, a lot of people have changed their direction during the pandemic and other things like that. We also speak about a legal foundation. So Melanie speaks about what is a hobby, for instance, versus you actually forming a business, and how do you build a business right by choosing the right entity for your business? How do you also have good copyrights and intellectual property to protect your businesses? So we speak about different aspects of foundation within the book. And like I mentioned before too, having good operational systems is also important.
I think that is fantastic because, especially, let me tell you, owning your stuff, intellectual property is very important. And Curtis, that's why I always say use the logo with the aura. That aura took a long time for me to get. That aura on BMI took a very long time. And I'm very proud of the aura. Registered trademark, wellness and recovery through work, the logo, the coloring, everything. It's so important. BMI, that's the property of BMI. And I'm so proud of it. So we discussed briefly why small businesses fail. So let's pull that up. The top 6 reasons small businesses fail, which is very interesting. So, Sasha, which one do you want to start at? You want to start number 1?
So we can start, maybe we'll start at number 3, because this is one of the foundational elements. They kind of all tie into each other. So these are some of the strategic tips that I'll cover too as we go through some of these, right? So one of the ones is not having a clear business plan. And the business plan has some of the aspects I spoke about before, some of those elements, but it also has the financial plan in there, right? How are you planning? How are you budgeting? And also has the marketing plan. What is your market strategy? Have you done your competitive research? You know your market niche, right? What is that target market that you're aiming for? One of the things we speak about in the book is you want to be a big fish in a small pond, right? You want to be competing with the right people. You're not going to be necessarily competing against maybe the Walmarts and the Amazons of the world. But what is your actual market niche? So you're spending your resources and your time in the right way. So a lot of times people don't have a clear direction. And that's why I say, even if your business plan is 2 to 3 pages, we go through those elements in the book so you know how to do those things. The core cash flow management ties into financials, right? So a lot of times, and also starting with too little money. So these are the reasons why, these are some of the statistics as to why businesses fail within the first 2 years. And so not really budgeting and having a good financial plan and realizing what it is that's coming in, coming out, documenting, budgeting. Those are all important factors as to why businesses fail.
Now, this sounds a little like I need some help and guidance. This sounds a little over my head. Not over my head, but you know what I mean? Like, it sounds like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. This is hard work. This is not just, I'm going to wake up in the morning and open up a nail salon. Like, you have to really strategically think about this.
Yes. You have to do your due diligence, right?
Right.
So part of that is, that's why you have to have that plan. Like, how do you, I always say, when you write down your ideas, there's a higher percentage that you're going to execute on them. I've always been big on goal setting. So if starting a business is your goal, you want to make sure it's feasible. You want to make sure that it's practical, right? And so even, for instance, when we're talking about number 4 here, not pricing your product or your service the right way. That's something that some of us are still tweaking. I still tweak things in my business because we see inflation's happening now, right? So everyone, down to the lady who does my nails, has to go and increase the prices. So you have to make sure that you're always coming back to the back end of your business. And so overall, the biggest thing that Melanie and I address in this book is that people don't pay enough attention to the back end of the business, which includes the financials, the legal, the operations, right? The strategy. A lot of times people are just focused on sales and marketing, but you have to put that foundation, everything that happens behind the scenes in motion. And what happens is entrepreneurs oftentimes, or aspiring entrepreneurs, get caught up in the glitz and the glams of entrepreneurship, but it's a grind, right? There's no one to tell you when to get up, when to start working, and you have to manage yourself in your life so that you're not burning yourself out and you're actually, really aligning your personal and your business goals to create this life and this business that you want.
Now, you said back end. So if there's a back end, there's a front end. So the front end would be what? Working with the customers and stuff like that?
Yeah. So the front end of the business is more so marketing and sales, customer service. But there's also customer service is also the back end of the customer service. So the back end of the customer service, for instance, would be your policies and procedures. So one of the things I work on in operations, and we talk about this in the book, is what are your policies and procedures, not just for maybe hiring your employees, but customer service is, you have to have policies, right, for how you care for your
absolutely
customers. And it's important when you have policies and procedures, you're setting expectations for both parties, whether it's the customer and the company, right, the business owner and the employees. So this way you're cultivating and you're setting expectations for what kind of culture you're creating, right? People love to shop from Amazon, right? Because they know what kind of customer service they're going to receive and they can return things and whatever it is. So there, you have to focus on the back end of the business to have that strong foundation. You also have to be compliant in your industry, right? So that's part of your due diligence as far as researching or getting the experts, right, to come and help you. So another strategy, which kind of touches on number 6 here, about recognizing your weak points. So one of the things we talk about in our book is having the right and building the right strategic networks. We pretty much had to reinvent ourselves and create new networks as entrepreneurs to start networking and building a network for our business. When we're working in, on, and for our businesses. We also had to hire the right professionals, right, to have around you to help you when it comes to certain things, whether it's that accountant or that lawyer, or maybe a consultant such as myself. These are all important factors to have to address kind of the issues that you might, or the areas that you might not know as well. It's worth investing in those things.
Now, one thing that I saw in here also that I think urbanites, listen, it's important to have something. It's 2 words. It starts with a C and an S. Does anyone know what that is? A good credit score, right? Right? That's important, right? Now, why is a good credit score important?
Well, so for instance, I'm not a big borrower, but you have to. I mean, we also learned during the pandemic that a lot of people were borrowing, right? We had the PPP loans, and then I was learning also as an entrepreneur, new things in the financial world and what was available to me. So I also learned about lines of credit. So luckily, right before the pandemic hit, I went to get a line of credit from a bank. Again, I was referred by someone in my network, in my new network. And I set that up just to have a line of credit if I ever needed it in an emergency. And I'm happy I set that up before the pandemic hit, because apparently it was harder for smaller businesses to get that. But I got approved very quickly because I had a good credit score. So it is important to have a good credit score when it comes to, right, lines of credit, loans, or other financial assistance that you're looking to have. And it's also very important to have good record keeping. So this is one of the things we talk about in the book as well, because aside from credit scores, if you ever want to apply for grants or loans or other things, like especially during PPP, we had to submit all that documentation. So we had to show our financials. We had to show what the business was bringing in, bringing out. And that's why sometimes it's also good, if you're not doing record keeping or know how to do it, to have an accountant or someone that's able to do that for you, depending on your business and how much operations is going on.
Well, because it's sort of like the people in the urban community, like getting an accountant. Like, we can't really afford an accountant. We can't really afford a lawyer. We can't really afford. How do we? I feel like we're behind like the 8 ball in so many ways of starting. And I think this book, your book, lays a great foundation, because you don't have to start with just a little money, because there are resources out there for you to have your policies and your procedures, things of that nature, like what is it, Rocket Lawyer, Zoom, Legal Zoom. Like, you can create those things through those platforms as well, so that you won't have to spend a lot of money in terms of, a lawyer. I know for us, one of the things that we work with a lawyer extensively for our IP, because that to me is I'm not going to go through any, like a Zoom or whatever you call it. We have an attorney. We've been with this attorney for years, because to me that is so valuable, your property, your intellectual property. Now, in your experience, outside of the 6 that we just highlighted, what has been the most toxic behavior that you have seen entrepreneurs do?
Oh, do I have to stick to one?
Well, 2.
So I think, so sticking to the concept of mold. Let's talk about toxicity for a minute.
Right.
I think that one of them would be isolation, because entrepreneurship can be a very lonely road. We don't always have partners, right? Business partners necessarily. I think during the pandemic, that also was pretty prominent, right? Because we were all in isolation. We couldn't really travel and weren't networking as much. So it's very important to have a good support system around you. Not everyone understands the entrepreneurial life. It's not 9 to 5. You're not always going to have positivity from those closest to you. You might find support from strangers. A lot of times you got a lot of support from strangers or in your network as well. So isolation, right, it can be one of those big toxic issues. Another one can be not seeking the right expertise at the right time. So again, the back-end operations, we have examples in the book where I'm speaking of even clients I've worked with where they're making money, and they're not even compliant in their industry. So if they get one slap on the wrist, they will be fined thousands and thousands of dollars, right? So that's why it's important to do your due diligence. And even if you can't afford a different expert, you're just making sure you're going to the right resources. There are resources available. We have them in the book as well, because we had to feel our way through which groups worked well with us and which ones didn't, and where you can find those resources. And as you grow and as you develop, you might go and seek help elsewhere. So for instance, when it comes to LegalZoom, I think that they've come up with I think they've become more credible. I know that there was a time when they weren't as credible and people were having issues with them. And so all the lawyers I work with, they're like, try to avoid them if you can. But when it comes to things such as name search, right? You want to make sure that other people don't have your company name.
Right.
And also you want to make sure you have right contracts in place. Sometimes your contracts and your agreements don't cover all your bases. So those types of investments are worth, investing in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you also do coaching, correct? Like some type of coaching?
Yes. So we have the MBS Leadership Intensive Coaching packages. That's really for purposeful leaders. And so what I do is, this is really about investing in yourself. This is for leaders in transition. And I do one-on-one coaching with business leadership, entrepreneurs, and future business owners at different stages of their business. So I have kind of named the packages based on where people are in their business journey. So the Envision package is really for entrepreneurs that want to start a business. They don't know where to start and they're pretty much stuck. I also have the Transition, which is for those that are trying to transition from, let's say, their 9-to-5 job into their full-time entrepreneur journey. And we also have the Synergy, where people are trying to align. Sometimes people start their business with one idea and it ends up turning into something else. And at a restaurant, and then it turned into a deli, right? And they wanted to realign their purpose and their business purpose for where they were now. This is kind of like revisiting what your initial vision was and where you've ended up, because they were also responding to the market, right? And then we have our intentional packages, which is for leadership or business owners that are actually intentional about certain things they want to work on in their business. So I have done one-on-one coaching. I've actually also been doing one-on-one coaching with clients that also have our book, which is great because we can work hand in hand with it. And we've had success. I have one client now that has accelerated so much in just 4 weeks. And she was operating from a place of fear. And now she's actually, I'm like, you're doing it. I'm like, what are you scared about? So empowering others, like, I love that. I love that's what makes me tick, and my client's success is my success. So I feel so happy for her. She's also a mother. She has young kids. She's doing well. But again, I wanted her to formalize the business in the right way so that she was also protecting herself, right, as she's doing business, and she's able to grow the business the right way. So we are taking the steps in the book, and she's come so far already.
So listen, we are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. So for my audience that is not able to see you, what is your website information for Meta Viable Solutions?
So my website is www.metaviablesolutions.com. That's METAVIABLESSOLUTIONS.com. MetaViableSolutions.com.
All right, awesome. Now listen, Urbanites, Sasha is very humble, and let me tell you why. You see these earrings I wear? I get so many compliments. Guess who made these earrings? Sasha! Oh, yes, my God. Yeah. What? I get so many compliments from these earrings and the other earrings that I wear.
Yes.
I know my Urbanites have seen these earrings. I wear them all. Listen, look at that.
You look fabulous.
Oh, my goodness. Tell us a little bit about that, your jewelry making and your jewelry.
Yeah, absolutely. So the name of my jewelry line is Sasha L Jewels, and I started it 10 years ago. So this is our 10th year anniversary, pretty much. We just finished the 10th year anniversary. And this has kind of been my baby, because this is why I'm able to do what I do now. I'm able to also help small business owners, because this was what I was working on while I was still in the corporate world. This was really my side business. I would come home and grind. And this is how I learned how to build a business from the ground up, and why I'm able to help others, with certain marketing and learn certain creative aspects. So I think being an entrepreneur really makes you step out of your comfort zone. Our jewelry brand is really about diversity in fashion, right? We have all different women, all different ages. We even have men who buy for their ladies, shopping on our website, on our online boutique. And we have different collections, and it's really inspired by different things in life, different cultures, myriads of, culture, arts, color. We're very much about boldness and embellishment and empowerment through, your fashion. And so you'll find all unique jewelry on there. You can see I'm wearing kind of pops of color from our Urban Retro Chic collection. We have our Heritage Pride collection for all the Caribbean, Latin, African, and we love to represent our country. So we have those colors. We have our Pearl collection. I'm trying to remember. We have the Boho Chic collection. So a lot is really based on cultures and travel and really being bold, right? In simple statements. So that's really what the jewelry brand is about. And, for anyone who is interested in any services or even the jewelry, if they use our code Urban Tools for all your urbanites, you'll get a discount as well.
Listen, now what is the website for your jewelry?
So the jewelry is sashalJewels.com. So it's my first name and my last initial. So SashalJewels.com. And you can use the code Urban Tools for 15% off if you like any of our jewelry on there.
Listen, you're going to love her jewelry. That's how I first met Sasha.
Yes, thank you
her
so much.
Earrings, I was like, Sasha, what are you wearing? Like, I didn't know her name, but I'm like, oh my gosh, your earrings are fantastic. Oh my gosh, where did you get those earrings from? Like, oh my goodness. And things like that in terms of networking is so important. You use that as a networking tool because that's how we met.
That's how we met. I loved also your style and your fashion, and that's how we started talking.
Yes, right.
And you supported right away. Thank you so much for supporting.
Oh man,
I've been watching your shows, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's wearing my jewelry.
Yes. Oh my, I love it. They're comfortable. They're not heavy. I forget that they're on. They're stylish. I can wear them. I can dress them up. I can dress it down.
Right.
I don't. It's like, it's just perfect for me, especially with my short hair. Like, oh my, I love it.
And that's a great point. It's day to evening jewelry. So you can just switch it up all the time, which I love to do.
Yes. Like even the earrings that you're wearing now.
They're not too heavy. They're fun.
Yes, they're great. So check them out. Definitely check out that website and also check out this book, Striking Business Gold. Let's see where they're Striking Business Gold.
Yes.
Very, very important if you are looking to get into business and you want to be successful. Then I understand failure does come sometimes. You have your ups and your downs, but you don't want to stay down, especially if you have the tools. And this is an urban tool right here. This book right here, Striking Business Gold. Because for so long in the urban community, sometimes we're striking mold and we know we don't want to do the mold. We don't want to do the mold. So listen, any last words for my urbanites, Miss Sasha?
I always say it's never too late to start. Even if you have an idea or a vision, always put it down. If you're scared to start, operate from a place of abundance. Don't be scared to start. I mean, anyone with the focus and the discipline can really make it happen. So, and there's always ways to change. Everyone's been changing and shifting, even current business owners now. So this is absolutely a great tool to help you. Again, if you use the code Urban Tools, you will get $10 off the book also. So I hope it's a great resource for you. We're getting great reviews, and it's really more about us impacting like the next generation of entrepreneurs. That's what we're so passionate about.
So listen, Sasha, if anyone wanted to book you for like a speaking engagement, personal things, do they go through the website, the Meta Viable Solutions website?
Yes. And you can also, you'll find my email on there, and it's Sasha@metaviablesolutions.com, and you can contact me. I also do trainings. So I've had people contact me for different things. Also, the one-on-one coaching is is great if you are not a big reader or you need help on certain aspects of your business or launching. I can definitely help you.
All right. So listen, you guys, my urbanites, listen, this is definitely an urban tool for change. To come from a moldy mindset to one that is golden. Living my life like it's golden. I love that song. Living my life like it's golden, right?
I love that song. Absolutely. We have symbolism in the book too. The colors all mean something.
Right, yes. I love it.
The jewelry is also, colors mean something.
Yes, it's very
wisdom and abundance, and you have to come from a mindset of wealth. Wealth is not necessarily money, but you have to really come from that mindset.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Miss Sasha, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
Into the Urban Suite. I'm so glad you could make it.
I know.
Yes. Let's give Miss Sasha a round of applause, you guys. Yay!
Round of applause for you too. You're awesome.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I will be speaking with you later.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you. All right.
Okay, bye, Urbanites.
Oh my goodness. Awesome, 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 awesome. So I want to say thank you to everyone. I just want to say thank you to everyone. And Sasha, I think Sasha doesn't want to leave. Something's happening. She's like popping in. She's golden. She's like, Sasha is like, I'm here to stay. Yes. So listen. That was fantastic, you guys. I hope you tuned in. I hope you took notes. And I forgot to ask you guys to bring paper, pencil, pen, a rock, a chalk, or something, whatever, to take notes. But more importantly, purchase the book. Purchase the book. Please, you're not going to get it for free. Okay, she's a business owner as well. And this is to help you. This is the first step to an investment. If you can't invest in a book of $20, because you're going to get a $10 discount once you put Urban Tools in there, it may not be for you because scared money don't make none, right? That's what they say. Scared money don't make none. All right. So that's it right there. And then what do we have up next, Curtis?
You are entering the Urban Suite. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community with Dr. Lisa Lacan. You are entering the Urban Suite.
All right, so who is being flushed down the toilet this week, Curtis? Let's see. Who's being flushed? Oh, Trader Joe's. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you why Trader Joe's is being flushed down the toilet. I go to Trader Joe's all the time. I think Trader Joe's, they have the best flowers. Yes, their fresh flowers are just fantastic. They're inexpensive. The music that they play in Trader Joe's is awesome. And I would go there for their oatmeal raisin cookies, the little oatmeal raisin cookies. So I went maybe like 3 or 4 times prior to yesterday. And I noticed that I didn't see any oatmeal raisin cookies. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're sold out because they're just that delicious. They're so good that I would pick up some for my neighbor, and occasionally she would pick up some for me whenever she went to Trader Joe's, whenever I would go to Trader Joe's. They're so good and you just cannot eat one. Their oatmeal raisin cookies were the bomb. Now, I said were the bomb. So anyway, I went to Trader Joe's, I think yesterday, day before yesterday, I can't remember. So I asked the cashier, her name was Naomi. I said, do you all have the oatmeal raisin cookies? And she said, let me look them up and see. So she asked another worker to look it up in the computer, and the woman came back and she said, no, they discontinued the oatmeal raisin cookies. I said, what? You should have. I just as sure as I can't talk right now, that's what happened in that store. I looked like a drunken man walking in that parking lot. I was so discombobulated. I couldn't find my car. I was like, what? I'm serious. My oatmeal raisin cookies, they're gone. So because of that, Trader Joe's, you get the flush. But I will say this, Naomi, she kind of calmed me down. That was the worker at Trader Joe's. She said, well, sometimes in life you have to try something new. And I know this, but I didn't want to hear that at that time. I know this, that I have to try something new. So next week on air, I'm going to try their peanut butter cookies. Now, I don't like peanut butter. Like, they had all these peanut butter cookies. Who eats peanut butter cookies? Do you know who eats peanut butter cookies? A show of hands. Like, who eats peanut butter cookies? They have peanut butter cookies, double chocolate chip. Why double chocolate chip? Can't they just have chocolate chip? What's the double? I'm like, oh my gosh. So they get rid of my oatmeal raisin cookies for peanut butter and double chocolate chip and some other stuff. I'm like, okay. Anyway, I'm going to try it on air, the peanut butter cookies next week. I don't like peanut butter, but I do like peanut butter. Does that make sense? Like, I like peanut butter and apple slices, but I don't like peanut butter cake and cookies and stuff. But because it's Trader Joe's, I'm going to try it. I cannot do the double chocolate chip. I really don't like chocolate chip cookies. So I'm going to try their peanut butter cookies on air next week. And my Urban Nights, you're going to be experiencing it with me. All right. So listen, we had a wonderful time in the Urban Suite tonight with Miss Sasha Lalite. And I have to say that after really going through her book and reviewing her book, listen, this book right here, Striking Business Gold. This is a book that you definitely should pick up. You should definitely order it. And the website is metaviablesolutions.com. And if you put in the promo code Urban2s, you'll get $10 off, you guys. So if you are serious about starting a business, and it does appear to be scary, and again, also with that bear effect, if you believe that it's not going to happen based on, those 3 data points, whether you experienced failure before and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm going to do this because I failed before. You know what? Maybe you didn't have the right tool. You cannot build a house with a toothpick. That's not the right tool. You can floss with floss, but you can't build a house with floss. You have to have the proper tools. And oftentimes, the reason why things fail is because we don't have the proper tools in place. So yes, a toothpick is good. Flossing is good. That's good for our teeth, but it's not good for building a house. It really isn't. That is not the proper tool. So again, if your belief expected as reality is based on you witnessing someone that failed, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to do this because Diana, she started her ice cream shop and it failed. Well, you know what? Maybe Diana didn't have the proper tools to survive. And then also the last one here saw data. If you see on the news, or if, you read about it, research shows that, the first 2 years, you're going to fail. The first 2 years, if that's over and over and over in your mind, that's what you will condition yourself to believe. What you focus on will grow. So if you focus on fear, that's what will grow. So don't be attacked by a bear, by your beliefs expected as reality. If you know that you are passionate about something, get the proper tools in place to decide to do it, because anyone can just say, I'm an entrepreneur, and they have nothing. They have no business plan. They have no policies in place. They have nothing except something in their mind. And you can't go to the bank and just say, I'm a business, an entrepreneur. It's not going to happen. They're not going to give you money if you don't have money. Also, one of the things that we have to really do is talk about our credit score, because your credit score, listen to this. Remember what Sasha said, because her credit was good, she got a loan just like that. If you have poor credit, you either won't get a loan or the interest rate will be so high that you're going to end up being in more debt. You want to start off with a good foundation, and that is basically having a good credit score. Even if you don't apply for a loan, they look at your credit score, because your credit score tells people how you live. It tells people, are you, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? If you are, in a sense, ethical, I guess, if you're responsible. So if you have a poor credit score, people look at that as you're not a responsible person, right? So, and who's going to give money to people who are not responsible? Would you give money to somebody that's not responsible? Come on, think about it. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming into the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa Lacan, because in the Urban Suite is where you will laugh, learn, cry, and grow. Until next week, thank you again. And Molly, take us away.